Hello and welcome. I am Sir Shudder, and today I'm going to tell a story of how doing something good can go horribly wrong. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about a subject of suicides in Japan. During the 1997 Asian financial crisis, rates of suicide spiked heavily, increasing by 34.7% in 1998 alone, and remaining relatively high thereafter. After peaking in 2003, suicide rates have been gradually declining, falling to the lowest on record since 1978. In 2019, 70% of suicides in Japan are male, and it's the leading cause of death in men aged 20 to 44. Historically, cultural attitudes towards suicide in Japan have been described as tolerant, with certain types of suicides being considered honorable, especially during military service. For example, seppuku was a form of ritual suicide by self-disembowelment, practiced mainly by samurai to avoid dishonor, such as after defeat or in battle after bringing shame upon yourself during World War II. The Empire of Japan regularly employed kamikaze and banzai charge suicide attacks and encouraged suicide as a preferable alternative to capture. Aokigahara, also known as the Sea of Trees, Jukai, is a forest on the northwestern flank of Japan's Mount Fuji, thriving on 30 square kilometers, 12 square miles of hardened lava laid down by the last major eruption of Mount Fuji in 864 CE. The western edge of Aokigahara, where there are several caves that fill with ice and water, is a popular destination for tourists and school trips. Parts of Aokigahara are very dense, and porous lava absorbs sound, helping to provide visitors with a sense of solitude. The forest has an historical reputation as a home of yurei, ghosts of the dead, in Japanese mythology. In recent years, Aokigahara has become known as the Suicide Forest, one of the world's most used suicide sites. Signs at the head of some trails urge suicidal visitors to think of their families and contact a suicide prevention association. On to the story then. Bear in mind, I am not the protagonist of this story. I have just pulled a random image of a Japanese male off Google, and the lady in question in the story, I don't know what she looks like either, so I've just pulled a random image off Google again. Right, on to the story. The title of the story is called The Single Email That Changed My Life. The following is a true story. The thing we call life has many ups and downs. We can never truly understand it. The thing that changed my life was a single email. Ever since I was young, I had a strong sense of justice. Suicide, in particular, I could never forgive. I don't know whether it was because of a mental illness or not, but in my mind, if you had the strength to commit suicide, then you had the strength to do something and keep on going. There are less of them around these days, but in the past, there were a lot of suicide websites on the internet. I would find those sites, and in an effort to stop someone killing themselves, I'd write messages. I'd put down my real email address and write things like, "If you have any troubles at all, please feel free to send me a message." I wonder how many of these suicide websites I wrote on, but for the most part, people either didn't care about what I wrote, the webmasters deleted my messages, or people just ignored them entirely. Then it happened. I got a single message. Together with the site's name, it said, "I've been suffering from particular mental illness, and recently I've been thinking about killing myself, but I saw your message and it gave me the strength to keep on living." I was so happy. My message had managed to stop someone from such a stupid way of thinking. The person who sent me the mail was a girl, around the same age as me, who I'll call Keiko. And entirely by chance, she lived in the same city as me. After that, we often mailed each other and eventually became friends. Then around half a year after we first started mailing each other, it happened. I fell in love with Keiko. Until the point we had only mailed each other, so I had no idea what Keiko looked like, but at the same time it didn't matter to me. Even if she was some 50-year-old lady, I believed I could still love her. But I kept wondering if perhaps she wouldn't want to be anything other than email friends. So I could never send her a message asking if she'd like to meet in person. Then on one day I readied myself for the worst and sent her an email. "Would you like to meet?" Keiko replied with a quick "okay." Finally, the day came where we would meet face to face. Just like she'd said, the girl was around my age and was really cute. At first, we went out to eat and then to karaoke. And then we started meeting more often and more often. And before long, we officially started dating. Keiko invited me to her apartment, and when I got there, I asked her to marry me. She replied, "I want to stay with you for the rest of my life. Sleep with me." That night, we made love and fell asleep in each other's arms. The next morning when I woke up, Keiko was nowhere to be seen. When I looked at my phone, there was a message from her. "I'm sorry, I love you, so I wanted you to come to the same world as me." Whether it was because I'd just woken up or not, the message made no sense to me. I quickly tried to call Keiko. I tried to call, but couldn't get through. I tried and tried, but could never get through. I sent a lot of messages, but I never got a reply. A few days passed, and I hadn't been feeling well, so I went to the hospital for a checkup. The result? Somehow I'd been infected with AIDS. My life ended right there. Luckily, my family was rather well off, so somehow I've managed to live this long. But every day is full of pain. I'm not going to live forever. Soon I will die. I went to a detective agency to see if they could find out anything about Keiko, but they still hadn't uncovered anything. I couldn't understand people who wanted to commit suicide, but now I painfully understand how they feel. And recently I started to have this strange dream. While I'm making love to Keiko, she's crying, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for you on the other side." I think the reason I'm having this dream is because I've been pushed to my mental limits, but I feel like Keiko is no longer with us in this world. Even though this story is neither paranormal or spooky, it is among the stories that give me the worst nightmares. Because something like that is just something that's uncontrollable and unavoidable. Well, it is if you're careful, precautions and all that. Anyway, did you enjoy it? If you did, please like and subscribe. As always, I am Sir Shudder. Don't forget to hit the notifications icon to see if I've done any more, and I'll see you soon. Be safe, be cool.